Which principles are used to architect applications for reliability on the AWS cloud? Choose 2. Design for automated failure recovery. Use multiple availability zones. Manage changes via documented processes. Test for moderate demand to ensure reliability. Backup recovery to an on-premises environment. Correct answer. Design for automated failure recovery. Use multiple availability zones. A company has multiple AWS accounts and wants to simplify and consolidate its billing process. Which AWS service will achieve this? AWS Cost and Usage Reports. AWS Organizations. AWS Cost Explorer. AWS Budgets. Correct answer. AWS Organizations. A customer runs an on-demand Amazon Linux EC2 instance for 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 6 seconds. For how much time will the customer be billed? 3 hours, 5 minutes. 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 6 seconds. 3 hours, 6 minutes. 4 hours. Correct answer. 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 6 seconds. Which of the following AWS services provide compute resources? Choose 2. AWS Lambda. Amazon Elastic Container Service, Amazon ECS. AWS Code Deploy. Amazon Glacier. AWS Organizations. Correct answer. AWS Lambda. Amazon Elastic Container Service, Amazon ECS. Which AWS service enables users to deploy infrastructure as code by automating the process of provisioning resources? Amazon Game Lift. AWS CloudFormation. AWS Data Pipeline. AWS Glue. Correct answer. AWS CloudFormation. Which of the following is a cloud architecture design principle? Scale up, not out. Loosely couple components. Build monolithic systems. Use commercial database software. Correct answer. Loosely couple components. Under the shared responsibility model, which of the following areas are the customer's responsibility? Choose 2. Firmware upgrades of network infrastructure. Patching of operating systems. Patching of the underlying hypervisor. Physical security of data centers. Configuration of the security group. Correct answer. Patching of operating systems. Configuration of the security group. How do Amazon EC2 auto-scaling groups help achieve high availability for a web application? They automatically add more instances across multiple AWS regions based on global demand of the application. They automatically add or replace instances across multiple availability zones when the application needs it. They enable the application's static content to reside closer to end users. They are able to distribute incoming requests across a tier of web server instances. Correct answer. They automatically add or replace instances across multiple availability zones when the application needs it. How can one AWS account use reserved instances from another AWS account? By using Amazon EC2 dedicated instances. By using AWS Organizations Consolidated Billing. By using the AWS Cost Explorer tool. By using AWS Budgets. Correct answer. By using AWS Organizations Consolidated Billing. What is an example of high availability in the AWS cloud? Consulting AWS technical support at any time, day or night. Ensuring an application remains accessible, even if a resource fails. Making any AWS service available for use by paying on demand. Deploying in any part of the world using AWS regions. Correct answer. Ensuring an application remains accessible, even if a resource fails. Which AWS security service protects applications from distributed denial of service attacks with always-on detection and automatic inline mitigations? Amazon Inspector. AWS Web Application Firewall, AWS WAF. Elastic Load Balancing, ELB. AWS Shield. Correct answer. AWS Shield. A company wants to monitor the CPU usage of its Amazon EC2 resources. Which AWS service should the company use? AWS Cloud Trail. Amazon Cloud Watch. AWS Cost and Usage Report. Amazon Simple Notification Service, Amazon SNS. Correct answer. Amazon Cloud Watch. Which service enables customers to audit and monitor changes in AWS resources? AWS Trusted Advisor. Amazon Guard Duty. Amazon Inspector. AWS Config. Correct answer. AWS Config. Which AWS service identifies security groups that allow unrestricted access to a user's AWS resources? AWS Cloud Trail. AWS Trusted Advisor. Amazon Cloud Watch. Amazon Inspector. Correct answer. AWS Trusted Advisor. What is an AWS Identity and Access Management (IAM) role? A user associated with an AWS resource. A group associated with an AWS resource. An entity that defines a set of permissions for use with an AWS resource. An authentication credential associated with a multi-factor authentication (MFA) token. Correct answer. An entity that defines a set of permissions for use with an AWS resource. What are the advantages of reserved instances? Choose 2. They provide a discount over on-demand pricing. They provide access to additional instance types. They provide additional networking capability. Customers can upgrade instances as new types become available. Customers can reserve capacity in an availability zone. Correct answer. They provide a discount over on-demand pricing. Customers can reserve capacity in an availability zone. What tasks should a customer perform when that customer suspects an AWS account has been compromised? Choose 2. Rotate passwords and access keys. Remove MFA tokens. Move resources to a different AWS region. Delete AWS Cloud Trail resources. Contact AWS support. Correct answer. Rotate passwords and access keys. Contact AWS support. Which of the following is the customer's responsibility under the AWS Shared Responsibility Model? Patching underlying infrastructure. Physical security. Patching Amazon EC2 instances. Patching network infrastructure. Correct answer. Patching Amazon EC2 instances. When comparing AWS with on-premises total cost of ownership, TCO, what costs are included? Data center security. Business analysis. Project management. Operating system administration. Correct answer. Data center security. According to the AWS Shared Responsibility Model, what is AWS responsible for? Configuring Amazon VPC. Managing application code. Maintaining application traffic. Managing the network infrastructure. Correct answer. Managing the network infrastructure. Which AWS tool will identify security groups that grant unrestricted internet access to a limited list of ports? AWS Organizations. AWS Trusted Advisor. AWS Usage Report. Amazon EC2 Dashboard. Correct answer. AWS Trusted Advisor. Which AWS service can be used to generate alerts based on an estimated monthly bill? AWS Config. Amazon Cloud Watch. AWS X-Ray. AWS Cloud Trail. Correct answer. Amazon CloudWatch. Which Amazon EC2 pricing model offers the most significant discount when compared to on-demand instances? Partial upfront reserved instances for a 1-year term. All upfront reserved instances for a 1-year term. All upfront reserved instances for a 3-year term. No upfront reserved instances for a 3-year term. Correct answer. All upfront reserved instances for a 3-year term. Which of the following is the responsibility of AWS? Setting up AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM, users and groups. Physically destroying storage media at end of life. Patching guest operating systems. Configuring security settings on Amazon EC2 instances. Correct answer. Physically destroying storage media at end of life. Which of the following is an advantage of using AWS? AWS audits user data. Data is automatically secure. There is not guessing on capacity needs. AWS manages compliance needs. Correct answer. There is not guessing on capacity needs. Which AWS service would a customer use with a static website to achieve lower latency and high transfer speeds? AWS Lambda. Amazon DynamoDB Accelerator. Amazon Route 53. Amazon CloudFront. Correct answer. Amazon CloudFront. Which services manage and automate application deployments on AWS? Choose 2. AWS Elastic Beanstalk. AWS Code Commit. AWS Data Pipeline. AWS CloudFormation. AWS Config. Correct answer. AWS Elastic Beanstalk. AWS CloudFormation. A user wants guidance on possible savings when migrating from on-premises to AWS's. Which tool is suitable for this scenario? AWS Budgets. Cost Explorer. AWS Total Cost of Ownership, TCO, Calculator. AWS Well-Architected Tool. Correct answer. AWS Total Cost of Ownership, TCO, Calculator. How does AWS most effectively reduce computing costs for a growing startup company? It provides on-demand resources for peak usage. It automates the provisioning of individual developer environments. It automates customer relationship management. It implements a fixed monthly computing budget. Correct answer. It provides on-demand resources for peak usage. A startup is working on a new application that needs to go to market quickly. The application requirements may need to be adjusted in the near future. Which of the following is a characteristic of the AWS cloud that would meet this specific need? Elasticity. Reliability. Performance. Agility. Correct answer. Agility. Which AWS support plan provides a full set of AWS Trusted Advisor checks? Business and Developer Support. Business and Basic Support. Enterprise and Developer Support. Enterprise and Business Support. Correct answer. Enterprise and Business Support. Which of the following services have distributed denial of service, DDoS, mitigation features? Choose 2. AWS WAF. Amazon DynamoDB. Amazon EC2. Amazon CloudFront. Amazon Inspector. Correct answer. AWS WAF. Amazon CloudFront. When building a cloud total cost of ownership, TCO, model, which cost elements should be considered for workloads running on AWS? Choose 3. Compute costs. Facilities costs. Storage costs. Data transfer costs. Network infrastructure costs. Hardware lifecycle cost. Correct answer. Compute costs, storage costs, network infrastructure costs. A company is considering migrating its application to AWS. The company wants to compare the cost of running the workload on-premises to running the equivalent workload on the AWS platform. Which tool can be used to perform this comparison? AWS Simple Monthly Calculator. AWS Total Cost of Ownership, TCO, Calculator. AWS Billing and Cost Management Console. Cost Explorer. Correct answer. AWS Total Cost of Ownership, TCO, Calculator. Which AWS service provides a secure, fast, and cost-effective way to migrate or transport exabyte-scale datasets into AWS? AWS Batch. AWS Snowball. AWS Migration Hub. AWS Snowmobile. Correct answer. AWS Snowmobile. Which of the following best describe the AWS pricing model? Choose 2. Fixed term. Pay-as-you-go. Co-location. Planned. Variable cost. Correct answer. Pay-as-you-go. Variable cost. Why should a company choose AWS instead of a traditional data center? AWS provides users with full control over the underlying resources. AWS does not require long-term contracts and provides a pay-as-you-go model. AWS offers edge locations in every country, supporting global reach. AWS has no limits on the number of resources that can be created. Correct answer. AWS does not require long-term contracts and provides a pay-as-you-go model. Which solution provides the fastest application response times to frequently accessed data to users in multiple AWS regions? AWS Cloud Trail across multiple availability zones. Amazon Cloud Front to Edge locations. AWS Cloud Formation in multiple regions. A virtual private gateway over AWS Direct Connect. Correct answer. Amazon Cloud Front to Edge locations. Which AWS service provides a self-service portal for on-demand access to AWS compliance reports? AWS Config. AWS Certificate Manager. Amazon Inspector. AWS Artifact. Correct answer. AWS Artifact. Which of the following AWS services can be used to run a self-managed database? Amazon Route 53. AWS X-Ray. AWS Snowmobile. Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon EC2. Correct answer. Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon EC2. How can a user protect against AWS service disruptions if a natural disaster affects an entire geographic area? Deploy applications across multiple availability zones within an AWS region. Use a hybrid cloud computing deployment model within the geographic area. Deploy applications across multiple AWS regions. Store application artifacts using AWS Artifact and replicate them across multiple AWS regions. Correct answer. Deploy applications across multiple AWS regions. What exclusive benefit is provided to users with enterprise support? Access to a technical project manager. Access to a technical account manager. Access to a cloud support engineer. Access to a solution architect. Correct answer. Access to a technical account manager. Which Amazon EC2 pricing model is the most cost-efficient for an uninterruptible workload that runs once a year for 24 hours? On-demand instances. Reserved instances. Spot instances. Dedicated instances. Correct answer. On-demand instances. Which of the following services is a MySQL-compatible database that automatically grows storage as needed? Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon EC2. Amazon Relational Database Service, Amazon RDS, for MySQL. Amazon Lightsail. Amazon Aurora. Correct answer. Amazon Aurora. Which Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, Amazon VPC, feature enables users to connect two VPCs together? Amazon VPC Endpoints. Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon EC2, Classic Link. Amazon VPC Peering. AWS Direct Connect. Correct answer. Amazon VPC Peering. Which service's primary purpose is software version control? Amazon CodeStar. AWS Command Line Interface, AWS CLI. Amazon Cognito. AWS Code Commit. Correct answer. AWS Code Commit. Which mechanism allows developers to access AWS services from application code? AWS Software Development Kit. AWS Management Console. AWS Code Pipeline. AWS Config. Correct answer. AWS Software Development Kit. How is asset management on AWS easier than asset management in a physical data center? AWS provides a configuration management database that users can maintain. AWS performs infrastructure discovery scans on the customer's behalf. Amazon EC2 automatically generates an asset report and places it in the customer's specified Amazon S3 bucket. Users can gather asset metadata reliably with a few API calls. Correct answer. AWS performs infrastructure discovery scans on the customer's behalf. What feature of Amazon RDS helps to create globally redundant databases? Snapshots. Automatic patching and updating. Cross-region read replicas. Provisioned IOPS. Correct answer. Cross-region read replicas. Using AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM, to grant access only to the resources needed to perform a task is a concept known as restricted access, as-needed access, least privilege access, token access. Correct answer. Least privilege access. Which methods can be used to identify AWS costs by departments? Choose 2. Enable multi-factor authentication for the AWS account root user. Create separate accounts for each department. Use reserved instances whenever possible. Use tags to associate each instance with a particular department. Pay bills using purchase orders. Correct answer. Create separate accounts for each department. Use tags to associate each instance with a particular department. Under the AWS Shared Responsibility Model, customer responsibilities include which one of the following? Securing the hardware, software, facilities, and networks that run all products and services. Providing certificates, reports, and other documentation directly to AWS customers under NDA. Configuring the operating system, network, and firewall. Obtaining industry certifications and independent third-party attestations. Correct answer. Configuring the operating system, network, and firewall. Which managed AWS service provides real-time guidance on AWS security best practices? AWS X-Ray. AWS Trusted Advisor. Amazon CloudWatch. AWS Systems Manager. Correct answer. AWS Trusted Advisor. Which feature adds elasticity to Amazon EC2 instances to handle the changing demand for workloads? Resource groups. Lifecycle policies. Application load balancer. Amazon EC2 auto scaling. Correct answer. Amazon EC2 auto scaling. Under the AWS Shared Responsibility Model, customers are responsible for which aspects of security in the cloud? Choose 2. Visualization management, hardware management, encryption management, facilities management, firewall management. Correct answer. Encryption management, firewall management. Which AWS hybrid storage service enables on-premises applications to seamlessly use AWS cloud storage through standard file storage protocols? AWS Direct Connect, AWS Snowball, AWS Storage Gateway, AWS Snowball Edge. Correct answer. AWS Storage Gateway. What is a responsibility of AWS in the shared responsibility model? Updating the network ACLS to block traffic to vulnerable ports. Patching operating systems running on Amazon EC2 instances. Updating the firmware on the underlying EC2 hosts. Updating the security group rules to block traffic to the vulnerable ports. Correct answer. Updating the firmware on the underlying EC2 hosts. Which architectural principle is used when deploying an Amazon Relational Database Service, Amazon RDS, instance in multiple availability zone mode? Implement loose coupling. Design for failure. Automate everything that can be automated. Use services, not servers. Correct answer. Design for failure. What does it mean to grant least privilege to AWS IAM users? It is granting permissions to a single user only. It is granting permissions using AWS IAM policies only. It is granting administrator access policy permissions to trustworthy users. It is granting only the permissions required to perform a given task. Correct answer. It is granting only the permissions required to perform a given task. What is a benefit of loose coupling as a principle of cloud architecture design? It facilitates low-latency request handling. It allows applications to have dependent workflows. It prevents cascading failures between different components. It allows companies to focus on their physical data center operations. Correct answer. It prevents cascading failures between different components. A director has been tasked with investigating hybrid cloud architecture. The company currently accesses AWS over the public internet. Which service will facilitate private hybrid connectivity? Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, Amazon VPC, NAT Gateway. AWS Direct Connect. Amazon Simple Storage Service, Amazon S3, Transfer Acceleration. AWS Web Application Firewall, AWS WAF. Correct answer. AWS Direct Connect. What function do security groups serve related to Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon EC2, instance security? Act as a virtual firewall for the Amazon EC2 instance. Secure AWS user accounts with AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM, policies. Provide DDoS protection with AWS Shield. Use Amazon CloudFront to protect the Amazon EC2 instance. Correct answer. Act as a virtual firewall for the Amazon EC2 instance. Which disaster recovery scenario offers the lowest probability of downtime? Backup and restore. Pilot light. Warm standby. Multi-site active-active. Correct answer. Multi-site active-active. What will help a company perform a cost-benefit analysis of migrating to the AWS cloud? Cost Explorer. AWS Total Cost of Ownership, TCO, Calculator. AWS Simple Monthly Calculator. AWS Trusted Advisor. Correct answer. AWS Total Cost of Ownership, TCO, Calculator. Which of the following provides the ability to share the cost benefits of reserved instances across AWS accounts? AWS Cost Explorer between AWS accounts. Linked accounts and consolidated billing. Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon EC2, Reserved Instance Utilization Report. Amazon EC2 instance usage report between AWS accounts. Correct answer. Linked accounts in consolidated billing.